Warriors, rise. It's all going to end at some point, and this should alarm you. My name is Coach JV. I am the top health, mindset, and crypto coach in the world. What you believe in your heart, you think in your mind, will eventually become your words and become your reality. If you can see it in your mind, eventually you can hold it right here in your hands. What you repeatedly do gets ingrained in your subconscious mind. What gets ingrained in your subconscious mind becomes an unconscious activity. Now, warriors, this should alarm you. It's all going to end at some time. I want to talk to you today about my human living experience and who I am as a human being. And I hope that this message will impact one person's life. I am the CEO of the 3T Warrior Academy. Now, what is the 3T Warrior Academy and what do we do? I left corporate America about 4 or 5 years ago in 2017 to impact someone's life every single day. I had some crazy physical experiences within this human plane that gave me the opportunity to create tools and behaviors to help human beings understand through my experiences that anything is possible. But I'm going to share with you, warriors, at some point, this is all going to end for you, and this should alarm you. But I want to share with you right now, warriors, that as you sit, no matter how tumultuous your life is, no matter how low the crypto market is, no matter how bad your relationship is, no matter how deep your addiction is, this is what's possible for you as a human being. And I'm going to take you through this physical experience. I'm going to explain to you who I am right now as I sit in 2020, March. And then I'm going to take you through an experience. Some of you are going to enjoy this. Some of you are going to stop subscribing to my channel, which is totally fine. What I'm looking to do is impact someone's life every single day. Okay. I am very committed to my physical experience here on earth. Okay. I'm very committed, and this should scare you because it all could end one day. And I want you to ask yourself a question. If it ended today, who are you? Now let's think about this for just a moment. Let's think about what you're experiencing within your physical reality in this physical plane right now. So we come from spirit, right? And then we come through the matrix, which is the womb, into this physical experience. And as a child, we come here as pure love, okay? We are not a religion. We are not an identity. We are not a job. We're not even our name. We're just a child who comes into this physical experience, and we're just waiting for someone to take care of us. The child sits there in their crib, and they have faith sitting in that present moment that someone's going to come over the crib at some point and pick them up and feed them. 100% faith. And then what happens is, as children, we actually watch and model the behaviors of our parents, our grandparents, and the circumstance. This is really important. You're going to want to get your pen and paper out, pause the video. The circumstance and the environment that you were born into. And through the circumstance, environment that you're born into creates your physical reality. The reason why is because as a child, we are taking in information just like Google. A child within the womb only has a subconscious mind. A subconscious mind is Google that is taking in information. And this is going to go into cryptocurrency, I promise you, and financial wealth. If you hear what I'm hearing, what I'm saying, and you're listening to what I'm saying, and you're seeing the words that are coming out of my mouth, this will help you in cryptocurrency. I promise you. It will help you become wealthy beyond your wildest dreams. So you come into this physical experience and you're modeling the behaviors of your parents and the circumstances. Okay. From a child from womb till about 8 to 12 years old, they only have a subconscious mind. They're Google. They're just taking in information. Okay. And the kids are asking questions around 7 to 8 years old. Why? And what we do as parents, and this is the reason why we're in this position where we're controlled by a small percentage of the population, because you as parents, to include me, and I change my behaviors, is every time your child asks you a question, you say, that's because that's the way it's always been, because I said so. And so what happens is children, we're immediately indoctrinated into a system that makes us respect authority, even if the authority is not doing the right thing. When I was working at the banking system, I would ask questions. That's the way it's always been, but that doesn't make sense. Printing money out of thin air doesn't make sense. Why did nobody question that's the way it's always been? Why has nobody questioned the system now? but we all sit in it and complain about it when some physical being having a human experience created it. So the monetary system, the war that we're experiencing, the pandemic that we just went through, we all accepted that as human beings because we don't question anything. And if you do question authority, you're deemed a quack, a conspiracy theorist, and all this stuff. Okay. So I digress. So let's go back into that. So it's all going to end, and this should scare the shit out of you, warriors. But I'm going to give you the tools and behaviors that I did because 16 years ago, I was sitting in a crack house buying opiates. And last week on Wednesday, I was sitting in a garden in Peru that looked like the Garden of Eden to me. And I had this experience while I was sitting on a bench in what I call the Garden of Eden, going through my physical experience in this physical plane, working to raise my consciousness as high as humanly possible so I could help myself and in turn maybe even flow into other people. And I had this moment in time where I was sitting on this bench in what I call the Garden of Eden there in Peru. I was doing a 7-day, really just solo journey, just working on myself. And I look over with my shaman. I look over and I see my little girl, my daughter's 17 now. I see her in her carrying case, and I remember the experience of buying drugs while I had a little girl. Now, that gentleman 16 years ago that was sitting in the crack house, while I was sitting in the crack house, think about this for just a moment. There was somebody sitting in a garden. Please listen to what I'm saying. This will change your life. While I was sitting in a crack house 16 years ago, there was somebody sitting in a garden. When I was sitting in the garden last week, there was somebody sitting in a crack house. Let me say that again. When I was sitting in the crack house, there was somebody sitting in the garden 16 years ago. When I was sitting in the garden, there was somebody sitting in the crack house. What was the difference between the two physical beings, the one sitting in the crack house 16 years ago and the one sitting in the garden? I'm going to give you the exact parameters of what happened within my physical experience. And I'm going to share with you, if you adopt this and understand this will help you understand the secret at a deeper level. This will help you understand exactly why your life is the way that it is, because we are vibrational frequencies having a human experience. So again, I was sitting in the garden as somebody was sitting in the crack house at that moment. When I was sitting in the crack house, somebody was sitting in the garden. So as you sit right now and you want to be really, really wealthy, and you're broke living paycheck to paycheck, and you daydream about being wealthy, there is somebody sitting that is wealthy. So everything you need is already available within the physical experience. Your frequency is what is your physical reality. Let me repeat that. As you sit at your desk and you're just over broke watching this, there is somebody who is a multimillionaire traveling the world. There is no difference between you and that human being. The difference is you are both having a physical experience, and both you are experiencing a different vibrational frequency field. You are presented with the same circumstances that are neutral, and you have a different emotional response to it based on the circumstance environment that you were born into that programmed your subconscious mind. So as we sit as a society since the 1900s in the progressive era, they changed our education system, which made you a memorizing machine, which didn't allow you to create, which took away your fingertip and your DNA and your creation process. And if you can get a human being to stop creating, you can kill that human being. That's the number one way to kill and control a human being, is stop them from creating. Number two is they change your healthcare system. They took you from handling the problem inside of you to treating symptoms. So now they deadened your frequency inside your body through medication. Okay. And then also they completely changed your financial system. They created a financial system and manipulated and molded you into it through television programming, so that they had you addicted to the television programming. And what they did is they got Americans addicted to this freedom lifestyle where we seek comfort all the time, which we're not supposed to seek comfort all the time and live in comfort all the time, because we don't have any trials and tribulations and we can't fight through anything anymore. And we sit back like sheep right now going off the cliff. Is they change your financial system and they just started printing money into oblivion. So as you sit right now, the money that you have, the spouse that you have, the job that you have is just a frequency. And if they were to go away, you would be exposed to a different frequency. So the elites, the 1%, they don't want you to have this message. Message probably won't go very far, because the 1% understand that if they can control your vibrational frequency, they can keep you stuck at a low level. And if you're stuck at a low level, you will never be able to see that there's already that experience happening within the physical reality. And if you start to change the frequencies, that you will just vibrate up and you will start to attract those things. That's what the secret is. That's what the law of attraction is. It's not some esoteric scientific thing. That's why when somebody walks into a church and starts to hear the music, they feel like the pastor is speaking to them and they feel the Holy Spirit. It's a vibration. And then they go out and they activate for a little bit and they go back into their old paradigm. And they fall back into the same behaviors because they walked into a frequency field that lifted them up for a moment of time, but they weren't able to hold that frequency for a long enough period of time because they walked back in to the same reality, physical reality, and then the frequency went back down, and then they got to go back to church to get that frequency back up. That's why all you Christians that go to a box on Sunday and you're a Sunday Christian, just because you go to a box on Sunday doesn't mean you're a good Christian. Outside of the box on Sunday, the things you listen to, the people you hang out with, the way you walk, the way you talk, the way you interact with human beings on the freeway makes you a Christian or makes you a God-fearing man or woman, right? It's when you tell somebody to fuck off on the freeway and you just came back from church, that doesn't make you a Christian. That means you went to a box to raise your vibration for a moment in time to show people in the physical reality that you're a Christian. A Christian is true love, agape. That's the number one used word in the Bible. So right now, as you sit, you're a vibrational frequency. So when I was sitting in the garden last week, there was somebody sitting in a crack house. When I was sitting in a crack house 16 years ago, there was somebody sitting in the garden. What I realized through my physical experience is that what I did is I changed the things that I saw, the things that I heard, and in turn, it changed the things around me. So I will be multimillionaire and most likely I will be a billionaire. The reason why is because I now have had access and seen a billionaire and been in their vibrational frequency, and there's no difference between me and that person. So my brain can now accept that billionaire is possible, and it's just a frequency, and there's a value system within me that feels that value. 16 years ago, I had no idea that billionaire existed, or multimillionaire existed, or even millionaire existed. My frequency was so low that I couldn't even access that field, and the magnetic field that I was experiencing was attracting everything to me. So how do you raise your frequency, right? Now remember, let's go back to the 1900s. Medical system, financial system, education system. So the people that control the medical system, the healthcare system, and the financial system, they have all the wealth. And the people that have the wealth, the 6 conglomerates that own the media station, control your vibrational frequency through your music, through the things you're seeing, okay, through the foods that you're eating and the food system as well, and the medications that you're taking. So if you're in those indoctrination systems, your frequency is so low and you're hooked onto the stock market and you're hooked onto the crypto market. And you're that investor that has no patience, no persistence, and you're emotionally driven by the market. That's all it is. You're seeing human emotion right now. So why does the market collapse when they announce war with Russia or Russia war? Because of emotions. Because emotions. And the elites are moving the markets back and forth, and they do it through controlling humans' emotions. Okay. So how do you change your frequency, and how did I get from crackhead to here? Well, number one, as I started to look at everything as frequency energy. So the foods that I'm ingesting on a daily basis have energy and frequency to them. Okay. So if you're eating McDonald's every single day, there's nothing wrong with that. It's just that you're going to operate on a very low level frequency within your body because the food is communicating with your body. It is pure energy. It's energy. So if you're eating shitty foods all day, you should expect that your brain is going to start to watch shitty things and want to listen to shitty things. And in turn, your vibrational frequency is going to attract those people into your life. So you're always going to be getting flat tires. Things are bad are always going to happen to you because it's your frequency. So if you change your food first, if you start to eat fruits and vegetables, you don't have to be vegan or anything like that, but just maybe get some whole foods, maybe eat on the outside of the grocery store at first. They're still manipulating that food, but start to eat on the outside of the grocery store and start to change the frequency within your stomach and your gut. Okay. Now that's one tool there. Okay. Now the next tool is looking at what are the things that you take, right? Are you addicted to opiates? I used to be addicted to opiates, very low frequency, and it's lowering your frequency at a very low vibrational level. So start to work to get away from that. And how you do that is to change the food system within your body, start to exercise and start to create dopamine within your body. And then your body will start to reject that low frequency medication. It will. When you start to change the frequency within your body and operate as God intended you to, the frequency will have to change. You don't have to just jump off your opiates, consult your doctor. But what I'm saying is, once you start to change the internal vibrational frequency within your body, those opiates will start to be rejected. The alcohol won't taste. I hate drinking now. I drink like probably once a year, and every time I do, I regret it because it's such a low frequency. I can actually feel the low frequency going into my body, and it affects me at a great level. I used to love to drink. I used to love to get drunk, but when I drink, I get a headache right away because my body is so high frequency that when I put spirits or that low frequency energy into my body rejects it right away. I get diarrhea, I get a headache, I feel uncomfortable, and I'm massively hungover in the morning. Okay. So the foods that you're eating will start to change the frequency. Now, what you see is so important. If you look at your social media feed, if you are watching the news constantly, your social media feed is an algorithm. It's showing you what you're perceiving, and what you're perceiving is what you will be receiving. So now if you're looking at pornography and you're looking at constant news about Russia and all this stuff happening, well, you should expect a low level frequency, and it's a feedback loop, and it's probably based on your food, or the frequency is making you eat shitty food because it's creating a disconnect within your body. Okay. And then we go into our education system. So what you've learned is to memorize, and most of you are not creating. I want you to think about this for just a moment. The best way to kill a human being is to stop them from creating. So if you're a person who gets in a box and you drive to a box and you sit in front of a box and you're doing a job to make money that you hate, you are so far out of your creative process. So again, the feedback loop makes you eat shitty food. You're drinking 3 energy drinks a day. You're watching pornography. You're watching girls in bikinis. You're watching all this weird vibrational shit. You're watching ID channel and all this murder stuff. And you're expecting to get rich in the cryptocurrency space. You're expecting to be a wealthy person. Wealth will never chase somebody who's a low vibration frequency being. You're the one that's going to lose your money in the stock market and the crypto market every single time. Okay, so now we talked about our food system, we talked about what we're seeing, and we're going to listen about what we're hearing. So the radio stations that you're listening to, the music that you're listening to has a frequency to it. And so if you were the elites and you wanted to control the population and you wanted to sway them back and forth based on emotion, and we're in the third cycle right now, which is war, which is going to be the biggest change in our human society in history, and you could become the richest person in the world. But if you don't adopt these things that I'm telling you right now, you will always be broke in the cryptocurrency space. You will always get wrecked in the stock market. You will always be the person who gets out of debt and gets back in debt. And you will never be wealthy beyond your wildest dreams, because wealth comes from the gut, it comes from the mind, and it comes from knowing that everything that you want, you already have access to through your frequency. So again, when I was sitting in the garden, there was a crack house sitting in a person in a crack house. When I was sitting in the crack house, there was somebody sitting in the garden. Those who have ears to hear will hear that, and those who have eyes to see will see that. It was the most profound moment I've ever had in my life. So from the 16-year-ago drug addict to where I'm at now, as I changed my vibrational frequency for a long enough period of time. But what I had to do is I had to hold that frequency for a long enough period of time, because the old self kept trying to visit myself. It kept coming back. And as I chipped away at it and I changed the frequency, I started to change the genetic and cellular structure within my body. And all I am is a high vibration being. And what you're seeing within the physical experience, the beard, the style, and all that stuff is who I truly was meant to be, who God intended me to be. And that's why my life is working out. It's not some mathematical science or because of this. As my social media starts to explode and I go viral, it's because I'm going viral because you're feeling the true God is expressing through me, the true innate personality that I'm supposed to be. I'm not a character. This is not an act. This is who I'm supposed to be. I am not John Vasquez. He died 16 years ago. I am not JV. He died when I left corporate America. I am not Coach JV. He died when I left Peru, and now I'm CJV, but I'm not that. I am me. I am a high vibrational being who controls what he watches, who controls what he eats, who fasts on a daily basis, who created an environment here. I created this environment, and in my academy, in my facility, and my team members, we have high level conversations. I created this environment. In turn, I'm experiencing financial freedom and love and abundance and virality because you're seeing the true expression. So this is very easy, warriors. I'm sharing you the secret to life. The secret to life, warriors. I'm sharing with you exactly what they don't want you to know, because they've done this to you for a very, very long time. If you can control the food, if you control the information, you control the vibration of human beings, you can control them forever. That's what narcissists do. So warriors, this is very, very simple. To take back your power is not to go to war. To take back your power is not to hurt another human being. You don't have to fight for freedom. Freedom already exists. You don't have to fight for freedom. Freedom already exists. You're fighting for freedom as they sit at the top of the house and connect their arms, and they manipulate human beings through the food, through the information, through the news, through the media. And the only way to change this, warriors, the only way to change this, because you and I accepted this monetary system. You and I operate in this system. We operate in this unethical system. We chose that. We can't blame anybody else. The only way to change it is to raise your vibration as humanly possible and attract all those things to you. And it doesn't matter what's going on with Putin. It doesn't matter what's going on with Biden. And it doesn't matter if Trump comes back as president. That makes you the presidency of your life. That gets you right with your higher consciousness. For me, it's God. I only look in the mirror. The president for me is God. I look in the mirror and I say, God, did I do a good job today? Did I not look at porn? Good job. Did I eat good food? Good job. Was I good to people and were my intentions pure in love? Good job. That's all I need to focus on. And that's why I'm experiencing heaven on earth when I was in hell on earth 16 years ago. I'm giving you the secret to life right now, warriors. Those who have ears to hear will hear. So warriors, you should be very worried right now. And what I mean is not worried about war, not worried about the cryptocurrency space, not worried about the stock market, and not worried right now that we're going to go through the biggest financial collapse in human history right now. What you should be worried about is if an EMP hits and all your money gets wiped out and the cryptocurrency market goes to zero and the stock market goes to zero and they freaking shut you down. What you should be worried about is the fact that we're going to be at an even playing field, and it's going to be those who are operating at a high level of vibration being that the money is going to come right back to. It's that simple. Jim Rohn says you can give $1 million to every single human being in the earth, and guess what? It'll go back in the same 1% hands because you do not understand that this is how it works. You are a frequency. You are a spiritual being having a human experience that was born into a physical reality that made you Catholic, that made you Church of Latter-day Saints, that made you Jehovah's Witness, and made you a Buddhist, and they're all equally important. But if you don't like your life and you're broke all the time and you're addicted to opiates and you're addicted to porn and your relationships are falling apart, know that there's a relationship that is well put together. There is abundance that's put together. There is a healing version of you. All the versions exist. And what you do is you go from the inside out. You don't go from the outside in. There's no car. There's no house. There's no spouse. There's no job. There's no $1 million in crypto that's going to fix any of this. It's all internal. And once you fix internal, it will come external. So what I'm experiencing within the physical reality is the frequency that I'm experiencing inside. I'm traveling all over the world now because it's matching my frequency. Because the guy in the crack house that was sitting there, not being a shitty father, didn't know that the frequency of this existed. Now I know the frequency existed, and I know the billionaire frequency existed, so I will be there. It's very simple. It's really that simple, warriors. So I want you to ask yourself, what are you listening to? How are you walking? How are you talking? Who are the 5 people you're surrounding yourself with? What did you watch today? What did you say today? What did you speak to yourself today? What did you eat today? Did you exercise? Where are you getting your dopamine from, warriors? Right now, as you sit, if you're still watching this, you can change your whole life, warriors. You can change your whole life. You don't have to go to war. They want you to go to war. They want you looking this way. And who are they? I don't know. You need to figure it out. I'm going to decide to become they. I'm going to decide to take my power back so heavily that people will be pointing the finger at me and saying, JV's changing the narrative. That's what I choose to do. CJV for president, warriors. So I love you. I appreciate you. Listen, warriors, you can do this. Watch this over again and seek to understand what I'm saying. If this is making you uncomfortable, seek to understand what I'm saying, because what I'm telling you is this coming from love, a very loving place. And I will end by saying this. I love you. I know you. I am you. We are all spiritual beings having a physical experience, playing ourselves out. Every circumstance is neutral. Your emotions are not, warriors. Appreciate you. I love you. And as we always say, warriors, rise, get your shit together. Let's go.